Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating and often fearsome world of German tank development. From the clunky, metal boxes of World War I to the sleek, high-tech beasts roaming the battlefields of today, German armor has a story filled with innovation, desperation, and incredible engineering. We'll journey through more than a century of design, starting with their very first attempt, moving through the secret developments between the wars, dissecting the legendary panzers of World War II, and finally looking at the modern marvels that carry on the legacy. So, buckle up as we roll out on a historical tour of German steel, exploring how these machines evolved, what made them so effective, and the lessons learned along the way. Let's get started. Our story begins in the trenches of World War I. While Britain and France were pioneering the tank concept, Germany was initially skeptical. However, faced with the reality of these new landships on the Western Front, they were forced to respond. Their answer was the A7V Sturmpanzerwagen, or storm-armored car. This thing was a beast, more like a mobile fortress on tracks than a modern tank. Weighing around 33 tons and crewed by a staggering 18 men, the A7V was armed with a 57mm cannon and 6 machine guns. It was intimidating, but it was also slow, clumsy, and mechanically unreliable. Only about 20 were ever built, and their impact on the war was minimal. The A7V was a reactive design, a first attempt born out of necessity. It wasn't a great tank, but it was a crucial first step, giving German engineers their initial, harsh lessons in armored warfare. After the Treaty of Versailles effectively banned Germany from developing tanks, you might think the story ends there. But it didn't. In a classic example of bending the rules, Germany found a clever way to continue its work in secret. They established a joint tank school with the Soviet Union deep inside Russia, known as the Kama Tank School. Far from the prying eyes of Allied inspectors, German engineers and officers tested new ideas and trained future commanders. Here, they built and experimented with prototypes disguised under innocent names like Gross Tractor, Large Tractor, and Light Tractor, Light Tractor. These vehicles may look a bit awkward now, but they were vital laboratories on tracks. They allowed Germany to refine concepts of engine placement, suspension systems, and crew layouts, all while developing the tactical doctrines that would later define their infamous Blitzkrieg. This secret school laid the theoretical and practical groundwork for the armored force that would shock the world just a decade later. With the rise of the Nazi regime in the 1930s, Germany's secret tank program came out into the open. The first to mass-produce tanks were the Panzer I and Panzer II. Now, by today's standards, these were barely tanks at all. The Panzer I was armed only with 2 machine guns and was originally intended purely for training. The Panzer II was a slight improvement, mounting a 20mm autocannon. They were small, lightly armored, and undergunned. However, their importance cannot be overstated. These light tanks were the workhorses of the early German army. They allowed the Wehrmacht to build its panzer divisions, train thousands of crewmen, and perfect the coordination between tanks, infantry, and air power. They saw extensive action in Poland, France, and the early stages of the invasion of the Soviet Union. While they were quickly outclassed, the Panzer I and II were the essential stepping stones that taught Germany how to fight a modern, mobile war. As the war progressed, the need for more powerful tanks became urgent. Enter the Panzer III and Panzer IV, the true backbone of the Panzerwaffe. The Panzer III was initially designed to be the main tank killer, armed with a 37mm gun that was later upgraded to a 50mm. The Panzer IV, with its short 75mm howitzer, was meant for infantry support. But as the war went on, their roles began to merge. The Panzer IV, in particular, proved to be an incredibly versatile and adaptable design. It received a longer, high-velocity 75mm cannon, which made it a deadly opponent for most Allied tanks, including the Sherman and the T-34, for a significant portion of the war. Its armor was continuously thickened, and its design was refined throughout its production run. The Panzer IV was the only German tank to be produced throughout the entire war, a testament to its solid and reliable design. It was the dependable, ever-present workhorse that fought on every front, from the deserts of Africa to the frozen steppes of Russia. Now we get to the names everyone knows, the Tiger and the King Tiger. These were the heavyweights, designed to dominate the battlefield through sheer brute force. The Tiger I, introduced in 1942, was a shock to the Allies. Its 88mm gun could destroy any Allied tank from long range, and its thick frontal armor seemed almost impenetrable. It was a weapon of terror, a mobile pillbox that racked up incredible kill counts. However, the Tiger was a logistical nightmare. It was massively overweight, mechanically complex, and prone to breaking down. It consumed enormous amounts of fuel and was difficult to transport and recover. Only around 1,300 were made. Its successor, the Tiger II or King Tiger, pushed this concept even further. It combined the lethal long 88mm gun with even thicker, sloped armor inspired by the Panther. It was arguably the most powerful tank of the war, but it suffered from the same problems as the Tiger I, only magnified. It was even heavier, less reliable, and produced in even smaller numbers, less than 500. While individually formidable, these heavy tanks were too few and too complex to change the strategic outcome of the war. While the Tiger tanks grabbed the headlines, many historians argue that Germany's best all-around tank of the war was the Panther. After the devastation of World War II, Germany was once again disarmed. For a decade, it had no armed forces and no tank industry. But with the Cold War heating up, West Germany was rearmed as part of NATO. Initially, they used American-supplied M47 and M48 Patton tanks. However, Germany was determined to restart its own tank design lineage. The result was the Leopard I, which entered service in 1965. The design philosophy of the Leopard I was a direct departure from the heavy tanks of late World War II. Its designers believed that no amount of conventional steel armor could stop modern anti-tank weapons like heat rounds. So, they prioritized firepower and mobility over protection. The Leopard I was fast, agile, and armed with the excellent British 105mm L7 gun, the standard NATO cannon of the era. It was a huge export success, serving in the armies of over a dozen countries. The Leopard I was great, but technology marches on. The development of new composite armors, like the British Chobham armor, and more powerful guns changed the equation. This led to the creation of its successor, the Leopard II. Entering service in 1979, the Leopard II brought protection back into the balance. It featured advanced multi-layered composite armor, a powerful 120mm smoothbore cannon, and a sophisticated fire control system, all while maintaining excellent mobility. The Leopard II is widely regarded as one of the world's finest main battle tanks. It has been continually upgraded over the decades with better armor, electronics, and firepower. The latest versions, like the Leopard II A7V, a nice nod to Germany's first-ever tank, are at the absolute cutting edge of tank technology. It has been exported all over the world and has recently seen combat in Ukraine, proving that the legacy of German tank design, which began over 100 years ago with a clumsy metal box, continues to be a major force in modern armored warfare. And that's our journey through the evolution of German tanks. From the A7V to the Leopard II, we've seen a constant cycle of innovation driven by battlefield needs, technological advancements, and hard-learned lessons. Each design tells a part of a larger story about strategy, engineering, and the changing face of warfare. What's your favorite German tank? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.